Okay. I'm excited. I see that my next guest has joined me. I'm really excited about this. This is Dr. Robert J. Watkins. He was recognized. Let me just read you his bio. And first, let me tell you how I found him. I was just looking for people who, like I said, I was looking for people who were into building wealth God's way. And I came across him on YouTube and I watched his videos. And oh my God, I was blown away by everything that I seen on him. I thought he was amazing. And I reached out to him. I didn't think I was going to be able to, connect with him, but I was. So I know God is in here somewhere. And he actually said, yes, I can do it. And I was blown away and excited about it. So let me read you his bio. He's recognized by former President Barack Obama with the exclusive Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. Dr. Robert J. Watkins is far from an ordinary entrepreneur and minister of the gospel. For over 20 years, known as the Empire Builder, Dr. Watkins is a heart-centered financier completely focused on his God-given mission, which is to educate, empower, and equip people around the globe to build empires that transfer wealth through generations. After being given up at birth to a Detroit orphanage and ultimately adopted by wonderful working-class parents, Dr. Watkins eventually embraced his calling as the Moses who could lead God's people through economic deliverance and begin developing his signature system of never chase a paycheck again. I've got that book. I read it. It's awesome. It's amazing. And the 10 Commandments of Financial Healing was born. As an in-demand international speaker, Dr. Watkins' passion for people, purpose, and profit has fired up millions of men and women across the globe, not just to reach, but retain financial success. This mission has led to the founding of several conferences and events under his tutelage, including Young CEO Camp, the summer program that focuses on creating young CEOs in the youth ages 11 through 19, and Gathering of the Angels, a Shark Tank style event where small business owners pitch their next business idea for a chance to receive instant funding and business coaching, and the Kings and Priests Men's Leadership Organization, which is just over 7 years, had exploded to a membership of over 17,000 CEOs, business owners, executives, politicians, and various men in ministry across the United States and abroad. Drawing from his journey of moving from financial ashes to influential wealth strategists, his monetary wisdom has enabled business owners from startups to seasoned to become successful entrepreneurs and avoid the traps that make most businesses fail. In just the last 2 years alone, Dr. Watkins has invested in over 200 new business owners, assisted thousands of families to change the trajectory of their financial legacies, and has facilitated more than $10 million in capital for burgeoning startups. Not only in this multi-divisional Army veteran, a best-selling author, servant-hearted minister, and investor, but he is a financial consultant who has helped build seven-figure businesses as the CEO of the consulting firm he founded, Conquer Worldwide. In his limited spare time, he has managed to ink 5 books, including Never Chase a Paycheck Again, How to Hear from God, Be Your Own Boss, Extreme Results, and the recent release, Chosen, Becoming the Person You Were Meant to Be. In the past 2 decades, his money management prowess has taken his diverse global clientele from invisible and frustrated to money-making millionaires. Having earned numerous prestigious assignments, including Marketplace Advisor for the United States Air Force, where he is called upon to consult top generals, Dr. Watkins is the go-to advisor for all things finance. A graduate of the University of West Georgia, where he received his Bachelor of Arts degree in Mass Communications and Journalism, Dr. Watkins became a member of the elite Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. He received honorary doctorate degrees in business and theology from the Ministry International Institute in honor of his excellence in entrepreneurial education. Even with all his accomplishments and accolades, if you ask him, he would quickly tell you he is most proud and honored to be given the blessing of fatherhood with his 2 straight-A daughters, Noelle and Gabrielle. However, in 2021, God blessed him to marry the love of his life, Pastor Reva Watkins, formerly Tim's. The two have launched Rejuvenation, a ministry to help people in the second half of their lives, with an impact that expands globally from Malaysia to South Africa to Jerusalem and the UK. Dr. Watkins remains steadfast and committed to being an ambassador for Christ while disrupting the status quo of debt and wealth and leaving his financial footprint on the world. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a mouthful. He's done a lot. Please help me welcome Dr. Watkins to the show. Hello, and thank you for joining me.
Oh, my pleasure. I was hoping you wasn't going to read the whole thing, but I'm
It
glad.
was so much that everything that I was saying. Well, I want to take that, but then I was like, that's important. It was important.
Well, thanks for having me. It's an honor and a pleasure, and I'm just praying I can be a blessing to you and to your listeners.
I'm sure you can be. Like I said, I found you. I was just looking for people who were building on the same kind of mindset with the building wealth God's way. And I came across you on YouTube, and the stuff that you were talking about was really amazing. I ran out and I bought the book right away. So it's like, oh, I gotta read this book. Never chase a paycheck. So how did you start getting into building wealth God's way? Like what inspired you to start focusing on doing things that way?
Well, I was in a place of holy frustration years and years and years ago, and I taught business at Emory University. I was preaching in churches around the country on business and finance, and I was mentoring people like yourself and many others through my organization, Kings and Priests. And it just seems as though it was not having any real impact, even though the information was good, was having good church. I was, touching young college students. I was mentoring men, but there was no real financial impact. People were still broken at home. They were still experiencing financial stress. And I had to really stop and really say, okay, what am I doing here? What am I doing? It's got to be more than just me making money, me selling books. It's got to be more than just people going to church and giving tithes. What are we doing here? And the Lord put me in a place of holy frustration. And the Lord just showed me that it's really not even about wealth. It's certainly not about making money. It's about God's will for their lives. And it's about generational words, generational wealth. And so I had to really stop and say, what am I doing here? And the Lord told me to, number one, to get off the stage. I remember TD Jakes came to one of my conferences, the Conquer Business Conference. We probably had about 8,000 people there in Atlanta that night. It's 2012. And the Lord told me to get off the stage and make disciples of men. And that was the key. And I started a consulting company, started a financial company. And there I began to meet with people one-on-one. I had to hear the hearts of people. And that's where that was really what changed everything for me. And so as a result of that, we've been able to help people like Miss Liberta. We can talk about this later. 74 years old, start a bed and breakfast. We've been able to help people like Carl start a new tech company. We've allowed people to now go from one church to having 10 churches. We've probably have helped more than, I think the last number was like 450 people actually become first generational commercial real estate owners. Right. And so we really began to help people build generational wealth, but it had to start with me. Stop trying to be this guy on the stage who can only inspire people. God wanted to do more than that. He really wanted marketplace miracles. And that was the first miracle he did for Peter within his business, and created generational wealth. So much generational wealth that Peter could just drop his nets and go follow him. Right. And so these are the things that God has placed in my life. And it's been an evolution and it's been really fun. And but I had to, first of all, stop doing what other people were doing and start doing what God told me to do. And that was make disciples of men. And we've created many millionaires around the world. And it's been an absolute joy to watch God do this.
That sounds amazing. I mean, and I just had our last speaker. She had a very similar thing where God told her to do something. Like, and I think that's where most people have a problem. They don't have that connection. Like they say, well, how did God tell you to do something? How did you know it was time for you to get off the stage? I mean, obviously you were already in the ministry, so obviously you had already been successful in what it is that you were doing. So how did you know it was that time to get off the stage and start?
Well, I wrote a book called How to Hear from God.
Mm.
And one of the things that you've heard from God is, does it go against rationalization and reasoning, right? Does it go against God's ways and not our ways, his thoughts and not our thoughts? And that's why I said, for me, it also was, I just felt dirty. You would think that it almost feels like you're in sin, because we understand about the sin of commission, where you committed something to sin. But as you begin to walk with God, many of us don't understand the sin of omission, when you begin to omit what God has said. And it's something internal. You can't see it. You didn't go out and commit adultery. You didn't go out and smoke and drink. You didn't go curse somebody out. We understand those types of external committal of sin, but the internal, I didn't do it. I'm not doing what God has called me to do. I missed God. I was afraid. I was scared. I was insecure. I was inadequate. And so I stayed the same. And that's the way I felt. And when you have that holy frustration, is what I call it, that holy conviction, that's what I felt. And when God, when you just feel like you're out of the will of God, even though you look successful. T.D. Jakes was up there saying some really great things about me. I mean, oh my God, it was 9,000 people in my conference. You would think that would be a crowning moment in my ministry, and it wasn't, because the Lord told me that it was just, I was working by the arm of my flesh. And people were like myself, we were just making money, but we're not building wealth. There was nothing being laid up for the next generation. And I think that's where we are as a church. That's where we are as a people. Where it's concerned about us and how this is going to affect me. But God, when he speaks from generation to generation. It wasn't about Abraham, even though Abraham became very rich in silver and cattle and gold, but it was about Isaac and Jacob and Joseph, and then Jesus. And then he tells us in Galatians 3:29, he says, if you be Christ, then you're Abraham's seed and heir according to the promise. So what heir? The heir of wealth. The heir of the things that God promised Abraham. We now have that same type of inheritance that we should receive. But we should have that same mentality as it relates to our families, as it relates to our businesses, our lives, and our mindsets. And so we have to get away from, this is all about me. And that's what I was caught up in. And that's why God couldn't use me fully to bring about wealth, because I was making it all about me.
You brought up something good, like you brought up Abraham, and I think this is where a lot of people don't. If you think about Abraham, God said to Abraham, listen, get up, leave your family, everybody, and go to the place I will show you. He didn't even know where he was going. and he did it. And that's what most people, like you mentioned, the fear. He wasn't fearful. He didn't say, oh my God, where are you going to take me? I'm not going till I know where I got to go, until you give me the whole plan. I need to know. He just said, leave everything and just go to a place where I will show you. And he just did it. And that's what most of us need. Because like I said earlier, when I was talking to the last guest, God didn't give us the spirit of fear. So if you're fearful of something that he's telling you to do, that's coming from someplace else. That's somebody stopping that blessing that you're supposed to be getting. So also you have tons of ways of gaining wealth. So if you got some kind of secret you want to share with the people, something that they can get started on building wealth themselves, what do they have to do? If I have nothing, if I'm saying, I believe in God, and I'm just, I just don't have enough, I just make enough money to survive. What do I have to do to start building wealth? Is there one tip or one thing in particular that a person can do to start, on that path?
Yeah, absolutely. If you think about the billionaires that we have in the earth today, whether it's Oprah, Troy Cathy of Chick-fil-A, or even Jeff Bezos of Amazon, if you look at how did they get there, it was something simple. The Bible says that the simple things confound the wise. Oprah, it was a camera and a couch talking about her weight issues in the 80s and the 90s. It was something simple that millions of people, she put herself out there. It was millions of people that can identify with that. Troy Cathy became a billionaire off of a chicken sandwich. He didn't set out. Oprah didn't set out to be a billionaire. There was no billionaires in the media besides a few Jewish people at the time. Certainly no Black women. and certainly no Black women that was willing to talk about an insecurity on camera. There was no chicken sandwich that was popular enough to become a billionaire. Jeff Bezos, Amazon is nothing more than a website that is an affiliate marketing. I sell my book, How to Hear from God and Chosen and Never Chase a Paycheck Again. Jeff Bezos came and he said, listen, Watkins, we're willing to sell your book on my website, Amazon.com, for $20. Will you mind if we keep 10 and you keep 10? I'm going to say, absolutely. Who can't do that? He didn't make the internet. You know, Oprah didn't make media. Truett, Kathy, Chick-fil-A, the owner, he didn't make chicken sandwiches. They just took something that was already in existence and they made it their own. And they were able to bring it to the masses, and it created generational wealth. And so I would say to those people that are watching, there is something like the widow woman in 2 Kings chapter 4. There's something already in your house. There's something that is so simple to you that is a complex and a blessing to others that they're willing to pay for it. You go to any Chick-fil-A right now in the world. What time is it here? Where I am, it's around 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. It's at least 25 people in line in front of you for a chicken sandwich and some fries. All right? If Oprah posts something tomorrow on how to bake a cake, she's got 3-4 million people viewing and liking it and trying to get clamor for it. Jeff Bezos, he's telling people, he told people this economically. He was in Entrepreneur Magazine just last week. He said, in this economy right now, don't buy any big ticket items. Keep your money. The economy is bad. Dude, you are bigger than Walmart. You're telling people not to spend money. He has so much money. He's telling people stop doing it. So, but the point is that there's something that's already in your house. There's a talent, a gift that the devil has made you feel insecure about. For me, it was my voice. I hated my voice. I was insecure about my voice. You know, you hear T.D. Jakes, you know, the big baritone voice, and, you know, Tony Robbins, the big, you know, they have these big bass, you know, me, I'm just like, hey, how you doing? But listen, but what happened for me when I went in the Army and I was 17 years old, and Private Sergeant Jackson, my drill sergeant, called me to the front and he said, Private Watkins, call the men to attention. I'm like, who, me? I mean, you know, I'm a knucklehead. I'm from Monroe, Michigan. And he said, call the men to attention. And when I said men, attention, and those men snapped to attention, something was released on the inside of me. And I heard my voice for the first time, and I saw the command that came out of my life. You see, wealth doesn't come to you, it comes out of you. And so now what has caused great amounts of wealth to come into my life is my voice. And so it's taking me all around the world and even into this moment right now. And so books have come out of that, and businesses have come out of that, and opportunities have come out of that, and open doors have come out of that, and so these things have come out of what's already in my life. So I would say to the people, it's already there. Stop looking outward. Stop copying what's already out there. There's nothing has already been created that you need. It's just, you have to do that. Wealth doesn't come to you. It comes out of you. And there's something that's already there that it's time for you to activate.
That is so true. We've all been given gifts and talents by God, and we just have to, you know, just use them. And when you talk about Oprah, and it reminded me of Kylie Jenner. Which is, I don't care how people think about those Kardashians, they took nothing really and became millionaires. When I look about the youngest one, she used to just do YouTube videos of herself putting on makeup, and she started getting people following her by putting on makeup, just watching her put on makeup. It wasn't even her own makeup. She was just putting on makeup, and people were following her and doing it. She got millions of followers, and when her mother realized that, wow, you got millions of people just putting on makeup. Let's get your own line of makeup, and then you can sell your makeup. And that's how she became the youngest billionaire, by just putting on makeup. That's the simplest thing. I mean, women do it every day. Who would have thought that just by videotaping yourself putting on makeup could make you a billionaire? But we all have a talent like that, something given to us that we can do that could be really simple. Putting on makeup is simple. I mean, it's not, if you know how to do all the other stuff, it's not simple, but if you're doing it every day, it's simple. And she just videotaped herself. But yeah, you and one of your books that I really, the only one, I didn't read the other ones yet, but I'm gonna read them. But the never chase a paycheck, I thought that was great too, because that's what most people do. Most people, they say that that's how the poor people think. They think about a paycheck just enough to pay bills. I want to work every month. How much? I'm gonna write down how much my bills. Okay, I need $2,500 to pay my bills every month. So I go get a job that pays me $2,700 a month. So I'm always just under broke. So could you elaborate a little bit more on your book, or on Never Chase a Paycheck?
Yeah, you're right. It's mindset, right? Mm-hmm. So poor people who are without, they do think how to get through the day, right? And so they define success as, wow, I had a good day because I was able to pay the light bill, right? I was able to pay the rent. So that's a good day, but that will keep you poor. You're right. POOR, passed over opportunities repeatedly. With that type of mindset, middle class mindset says, wow, I'm successful because I was able to pay all of my bills for the month and I have $50 left over. And so that mindset, if you stay there from year to year to year to year, you're going to stay where you are. And so they have a month to month mindset. Poor people have a day to day mindset. Wealth builders, and then real generational wealth builders have a generation to generation mindset. And so everything that I create, everything that I'm involved in, anything I invest in, if it's not generational, I'm talking about 3 generations to where my grandchildren can benefit from, then it's a waste of time for me. Well, Dr. Watkins, you know how much money you're going to make off of this transaction? If it's not generational, it's temporary. And so we have to think like that. Jews think like that. I had I was going to buy a Walmart building in Douglasville, Georgia, some years ago. When I lived in Atlanta, I live in Orlando now, but I was living in Atlanta, and Walmart was in this building, 88,000 square foot facility. They moved out of that facility. They moved down the street and built a super Walmart, 24-hour Walmart, and it left this 88,000 square foot building empty. I thought Walmart owned it. So I called Walmart in Bentonville, Arkansas, and I said, hey, I'd like to buy this building from you. And they said, what's the address? I gave him the address. He looked up the address. He said, oh, we can't sell it to you. I said, why? You're not even using it. And they said, well, we don't own it. I said, this is Walmart, right? He said, yeah, this is Walmart. I said, can you give me the number of the person who owns it? He gave me the number. I called this number and this guy answered the phone. Hello. I said, hello. I said, who is this? He said, who is this? I said, do you own the Walmart building in Douglasville, Georgia? He said, I sure do. Here's what happened. He gave me the story of how his great-great-grandfather bought land in like 1896, gave it to his son, gave it to his son, who gave it to his son, who left it to this guy. Walmart came about 15 years earlier, knocked on the door and said, we'd like to buy the land. He says, I can't sell you the land, but I can lease you the land. They did a 25-year lease with Walmart for $325,000 per month for 20 years.
Wow.
And even though Walmart was out of that building and down someplace else, they were still on the hook for $325,000 per month for 5 years. So I said, well, can you sell it to me? He said, no, I can't sell it to you. He said, but you can lease it. Right? I said, well, what are you doing all that money? He said, none of your business. But we kept talking, and come to find out, he used that money to build hospitals. He's a Jewish gentleman, and he has sent more. I mean, he sent literally thousands of African-American kids to HBCUs, to colleges. He's helped start businesses. And I said, what are you doing right now? He said he was just somewhere in Milwaukee and he was just riding on his lawnmower, just living his life. But the point is that when you talk about generational wealth, if you look in the Bible in Deuteronomy, the Bible clearly tells us to possess the land, but then God told Moses, don't sell the land. What we do, we're so quick to make a buck, we're so quick to make money, we buy and flip and buy and flip and all this other flipping, all this other stuff, and we're not thinking generationally because we're thinking about making money. That story I just gave you right there is generational wealth. And somebody who his great-great-great-grandfather who bought the land thought about generations on down the line, and Walmart came knocking on the door of this country, Douglasville. Nothing was there, but God said, possess the land, keep it in your family, title it to somebody with your last name, have a plan so that we can keep it, so our children's children will not end up back in financial slavery because they started off in life with nothing. And that's where we are today.
Wow, that's a really deep story. I mean, and so true. It just, this is a man riding on his lawnmower, and people just giving him $330,000 every month.
Every month,
because his family set him up to be that way. And the Bible tells us to set up a legacy for your children and your children's children. And you know, the thing is, the Jews, well, I don't care what you think about them, they follow the principles of the Bible, and that's how come they're able to create wealth for themselves and for their families. That's
well, and I think what we need to understand too is that he can't sell me the land. It's not racist. It's spiritual.
Yeah,
spiritual, right? And that's the principles that they operate off. And so when we talk about, I know we're talking about building wealth, but I like talking about building generational wealth. And if we talk about building generational wealth, it's right there in the Bible.
Yes.
There's more than 2,350 scriptures in the Bible on how to build wealth, how to make money, how to save it, how to leave it for the next generation. It's all right there. Yes. And so when we have that mindset, like God has a mindset, then creating wealth it becomes pretty simple.
Great. So I know I'm only wanted to take up 30 minutes of your time. I want to keep us on schedule. How can people get in touch with you? How can they become part of your program? How can they start being, get consulted by you? What is it that they can do?
Yeah, well, my website is conquerworldwide.com, and I actually do have a brand new course. It's actually called Building Generational Wealth. Building Generational Wealth. So if they go to conquerworldwide.com/wealth, you can get the information there. Also, in my consulting firm, I take on about 20 key clients myself, where I actually provide consulting, and our tagline is turning your small business into a big business. Been doing that for about 20 years. We also have a financial company as well, where we finance our clients, our Conquer clients. And so we probably do about $14-15 million a year in that area. But here's the first question we always ask when they join my one-on-one consulting, is that what has God called you to do? What is divine? Because business is tough. Business is hard, and it's only going to get harder. But when the hard times come, if you believe God has called you to do this, you're not going to give up as easily. And that's what we see. People may get the $100,000. They may have a business plan, but then things got hard because nobody's giving them any time on social media, or they're not selling any products, and then they quit. And now they're worse off than they were before. And so that's where we start, and we build a life, a business, wealth around that core. And we've been very successful there. So they can find me online at Robert J. Watkins on YouTube and Instagram and LinkedIn. Facebook is Dr. Robert J. Watkins, and our website is conquerworldwide.com. So look forward to being a blessing.
I thank you so much for sharing with us today. I am truly blessed to have you here. I thank you for accepting my invitation, and I'm definitely
persistent. It's not a lot of people that are out there talking about building wealth God's way. I was like, did she take my message? No, but what's happening is God is speaking to his marketplace ministers.
Yes.
And I appreciate the work that you're doing, Because when I started off, there was not these types of forums. No one was talking like this, right? I was a heretic in my church because they would say, well, you know, God isn't here and all the other business and finance and wealth stuff, Watkins, that stuff is out there. That's for the devil. I'm like, well, wait a minute. It all belongs to God.
Exactly.
And nobody was hearing it. They just wanted to have good church and be religious, and everybody was broke, and that just wasn't normal to me. Yeah. So you're doing a great work. So hats off to you. And I'm so glad that God has connected us. That's a blessing from the Lord.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thanks so much for being here. You have a blessed day, everybody. Say thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you have a good day.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, that was truly a blessing. I'm gonna my next guest is actually here, but we're gonna stop for a few minutes, and I have to let's see. We have some things.
Welcome to Quest. At Quest, we share exciting travel stories, a shared passion for travel, adventure, and discoveries, and a desire for connecting like-minded individuals all around the world. We're the industry's premier elite membership club focused on delivering luxury travel with a fraction of the cost. Our sole purpose is to transform the way you save, plan, and pay for your holiday vacation. In the next few minutes, we are going to reveal an exciting way how you can visit the most beautiful places while paying the most attractive prices. How you can even travel with no cost at all, or even get paid to travel luxuriously with our membership program. At Quest, we're taking what's already the best value in the travel industry and reducing it even further by as much as 70%. We make the lowest prices you can find anywhere for your vacation even more cost-effective because of our unique membership model. Here's a question. If you had all the time and money and you could visit any place in the world, where would you go? Would you hop on a plane to see the Swiss Alps? Or a safari on your way to Africa? What do you need a vacation from? What if you could bask in the sun while sailing the Greek islands? Or journey your way to have the best of all Italian cuisine? Is this how you spend your vacation every year? If you do, you're not alone. There are millions of people just like you who dream of traveling and experiencing everything this wonderful world has to offer. From Europe to Asia, America, and Africa. The reality, though, is, for most people, they only remain a dream. Let's face it, making and saving money is difficult for most people. And no one wants to come back from vacation to find a credit card bill amounting to thousands of dollars that will take months or even years to pay off. With Quest, we have cracked the code and unraveled the travel industry's dirty little secret and provide you with access to their wholesale rates with savings up to 70%. You get to have a 5-star vacation while only paying a 3-star price. Traveling luxury just got easier, even if you're on a budget. Imagine this. You pick your dream destination, take a peek at some of the fantastic deals on our site, and choose the best option you like. From that point forward, you no longer have to worry about putting together your itinerary or getting transfers to the airport. We provide you with your own travel agent who takes away the stress of planning from you so you can focus on savoring every moment of your travel. Imagine all the fun and adventure you can have when you explore the incredible destinations the world has to offer. And all the luxuries and excitement begin even before you fly, with you getting unlimited access to 900 VIP airport lounges. Thanks to the visionary leadership of our founders, whose success has been profiled in many prestigious publications, such as Forbes and the Silicon Review, you can now have access to 1.2 million hotels and resorts around the globe with up to 70% off their original prices, plus access to 50,000 car rentals available worldwide, flights with 950 major airlines, 15 major cruise lines, luxury vacation homes, lifestyle activities, shopping rewards, and so much more.